Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Riya Das, and I'll be your facilitator for the next 4 days, including today. And I'm really excited about this particular workshop because this is one of my favorite domains, which I read about and also apply in my counseling sessions. So, a little bit of background about myself. I have been into school counseling for the last 15 plus years, and I've dealt with children from ages 3 plus to 16 plus, and I have got my own adult clientele as well. So why I'm telling you this is because with each and every child or adolescent or adult I've been through, I've tried applying these techniques in order to know them much more in details. So many a times, how many of you have heard that, you are a psychologist, so you should be reading us. You can read our minds. Or, can you tell me something about yourself? How many of you have had this question coming up to you all the time? I'm pretty sure all of us, isn't it? Yes. If you can just raise your hands or put a thumbs up, I'll be able to understand how many of are on the same boat. Right. So it's a very, very common thing. And let me tell you, there are ways there are scientific ways where you can actually tell them what they are going through at that moment, or you can do a personality structuring through simple, fun questions. Vaishali, ma'am, you have some question?
Yeah, good afternoon. Just excuse
Good
me,
up.
my voice is a little bad.
It's okay.
But just as you said, I just want to tell about one incident that had
Mhm.
happened. I just went to my friend's place, and she was like, her daughter told her that, you see, your friend is a psychologist. And then my friend was saying that she started asking me, okay, you are a psychologist. So can you tell me something about me, like her?
Right, right,
Okay,
right,
exactly. So you
right.
will be able to read me better. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's what it reminded me when you asked me this question.
Okay. So thank you for sharing, and it excites me that today I'm going to share you a few strategies, a few tools, in fact, 10 of them, where you can exactly ask them questions, a few very fun techniques which you can forward it in your counseling sessions, in parties, in rapport building, where you can know about a person very quickly. So what we are going to look at, I have named it as archetypes because that's the thing which is makes more, a logical foundation. Anyone who can tell me who proposed the term archetypes?
Carl Jung.
Yes. So Jung had come across this term archetypes, and very rightly so. He Do you know about the history of how Jung came up with archetypes and collective unconsciousness and terms which are more aligned with each other? Anyone?
I think it was mostly influenced by his own biography.
Okay. 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 And any other information, any tidbits of information which you have about archetypes? Okay. So we'll explore that today. So I'll go back a little into the past and we'll explore a few techniques which you can apply in your counseling sessions, which can prove you to be very, very insightful and much more in depth, understanding the conflict patterns, understanding the defense patterns, understanding the strengths. All of it are put together in this, I've spaced it out within the 4 days. So I'll just quickly take you through today's overview. So, as rightly said, Carl Jung was the scientist who proposed archetypes. He was a psychiatrist and he was closely working with Freud, Sigmund Freud. But he kind of detached from him because there were several differences. Due to professional differences, he came up with his own theory of archetypes, which makes much more sense than the unconscious, than what Freud had proposed. But over here, I would like to tell you, if you don't know Freud, you would not be able to relate to what archetypes are, because those are way more interrelated than you think. And if you have come across tarot card reading, which is again a different field of work, but then tarots are inspired by these archetypes. So basically, what are archetypes? Archetypes are universal symbols. So according to Jung, these symbols are inherited. It is present in everyone by default. And it shows up in dreams, in certain fairy tales, in certain, movies, everyday characters, which we are looking into. Say, for instance, Spider-Man. How many of you have watched Spider-Man? Who's the hero out there? Of course, Spider-Man, isn't it? Who's the villain now? Can you write it, type it down? Maybe even if you don't want to speak. So there's this villain and this hero. So how do we know they are different? What are the characteristics of hero? Can someone tell me what are the characteristics of hero?
Has some insecurities, kind, helpful, etc.
Okay, and what about the villain? Yes, please. Ashwin Kaur. Right.
Yes, someone opposite to the hero, not at all kind,
Yes.
always like self-obsessed or self-centered, selfish person.
Okay, so trying to cause harm. So we'll see all of these, and there are many more archetypes, which, when we are talking about, say, a hero or a villain, certain common traits come to us, right? Through conditioning, through means it has been, passed down from generation after generation. So we'll be looking at all of this in the next class. But today I'm going to discuss something different. This is the flow of the 4 classes. First class, today's class, we'll be exploring Freud. I'm going to talk about a little what Freud proposed, if you don't know it. Then the next class will be more about archetypes, and there will be more of the cards and how you can use it in your counseling sessions, followed by the cognitive distortions, which Beck had proposed. Which we'll have a glimpse of it today because I'll be giving you some homework to work on. And then accordingly, you'll be working on the next few classes. And the last one is yet another favorite part, which talks about 10 art therapy exercises which you can incorporate, wherein you see a pattern which will be coming up today and the next day and the third day. So compiled with everything, the 4th day will focus on art therapy techniques which you can apply in your sessions. So you can expect a lot of tools coming in. It would be a little difficult to follow within a 1 hour span, but the group is always open for questions. So in case you feel that you're stuck somewhere, or maybe you have certain questions, you can put it across to the group and we can do it as a group. Moving on. So who was Freud basically? So Sigmund Freud, he was not a psychologist. He was more into he was into neurology. He was a neuroscientist, and then he came up with this theory which blew up, was unconscious. So can anyone tell me what unconscious is? Anyone would like to share? Or maybe I can just do a quick exercise to understand what unconscious is. Let's do this. Okay, so okay, 5 things you can. Yes, ma'am. Yes, tell me. Hello?
Something which is, yes, ma'am, something unconscious is something which is not there in our present. We are not thinking about it. We have not, in past thought about it. It's suppressed emotions or suppressed feelings or event which goes into our
Okay.
unconscious.
Close. Okay. Yes, Vaishali ma'am. I'll take one more response. Yes. Tell me.
Yeah, maybe unconscious is which we are not sensory awareness. There is no sensory awareness with our senses. So that's what is unconscious.
Okay. Something which you're not aware of. Fine. Okay, so let's do a quick activity to understand what is conscious, what is subconscious, what is unconscious. Okay, and then I'll take this forward. Let's do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise. That will also be an icebreaker. So I would like you to quickly go and get 5 red objects. Okay, you can come and show it if you can switch on your videos. Okay, so your time starts now. Let me see who gets it first. 5 red objects. You have to get up and get going. Okay, I'll be doing a little bit of cheating because I can't leave my space. So whatever I get around me, I'll show you that. 5 red objects. Anyone who has got it can raise your hand and show us. Maybe you can post it in the group as well. Surprising, there are no red objects around me. I've got only 3 and maybe a 4. Yeah, so I've got this diary cover red and this chips packet which I was having. Okay, Vaishali ma'am has got quite a few. This tiny eraser and this tic-tac-toe board. I'm just left with 1. And some scribbles on this red. So I got it. A couple of y'all have already got it. Great. If you can send it in the group, we can all relate to it. Okay. So no cheating. So you got to move. Okay. Next one is okay, 4 things that you can see, you can see around you. 4 things that you can see around you. Just type it out in the chat box. 4 things that you can see around you. Okay. Anyone typing in? 4 things that you can see. Book, laptop, pen, crayons. Okay, fantastic. Fine. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, okay. Okay, great. So we are done with 4. Now 3 things that you can touch or feel around you. Okay, maybe for me, these are my daughter's toys, soft toys, and then this sheet again, some paper. Try to have some, different materials which you can touch. Yes, and 2 things that you can hear. 2 things that you can hear. Hear the sound. Concentrate on the sound. Fan, horn. Okay, sister talking. AC sound fan. That's great. Okay. And 1 thing that you can taste. Maybe you can go get something from your refrigerator. Water. Okay, I'm pretty sure all of us have water around. Okay. Okay, good. So how did you feel connecting with your environment? This is a grounding technique. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. And this is what consciousness is. Feeling active, feeling awake, feeling alert, the sense of knowing, all of it comes under our conscious self. So whatever you were doing, maybe picking up objects, relating to the color red, and then hearing some sound, okay, tasting something in your mouth, all of it, that moment of presence, that moment of knowing is called the consciousness. That's what Freud said. The second one, the subconscious, is very interesting. Subconscious lies somewhere not in our active memory, but when I told you, get 5 things that are red. So red, you already know it. It's in your conscious, but you don't need it till the time you're asked to. What if I tell you, what did you do on your last birthday? Okay. So that memory becomes your subconscious. It's still there, but you can access it at any point of time, but you don't need it till the time it's required. Okay. So that's your subconscious mind. When I told you, okay, can you spot 2 sounds? Everything was in your subconscious till you paid attention to it. Okay, so the sound of the AC, maybe the fan, maybe someone talking outside, everything was in your subconscious mind. Till now, it's all, okay, it's easy to understand. But then comes the unconscious part, which Freud talked about in his iceberg model. This is what unconscious is, through the iceberg. He explained that the iceberg only shows the tip. Maximum amount of the ice remains below the surface of the water. So unconscious, according to Freud, is the portion which is below the water, and it's like a huge, huge thing. So most of us function or emotionally engage through our unconscious. And he talked extensively about some feeling which we can't explain, some dreams which has no meaning at all, slips of tongue, forgetfulness, not remembering a phase of life wherein you were all grown up. It's not childhood amnesia. Or maybe through dreams, you are acting out certain things which has no meaning at all. Or you don't know why you're feeling in a particular way. So all of it has a very deep rooted meaning in the unconscious system. And this is what Freud talked about heavily. Okay, so according to Freud, we function through our unconscious more than our conscious or subconscious levels. So according to him, however we are acting, our regular habits, or how we feel, how we interact with our environment, what is our personality pattern, has a deep rooted inside into our unconscious. Now, unconscious can be taken in a way that in your childhood, he emphasized on childhood experiences, and that's what shapes us, according to him. He emphasized that any kind of negative experience in our childhood may lead to a lot of conflicts in our head, which is pushed to the unconscious. And when you're growing up, if there are certain triggers, you kind of, give out those unconscious elements through psychological disorder, through nightmares, through certain emotions or feelings, which makes no sense. So this was all of it which he discussed in very brief. There are other elements also, but I'm not going into that portion. We'll be more focusing on certain things which we are doing on autopilot. So unconscious, you can take it as an autopilot where you have no control. Okay. Any questions till now? I'll give you some reading material about unconscious also, but let's for this class just focus on how we can bring our unconscious elements into our consciousness. So according to Freud, if we are aware of certain things, we try to take step and rectify it. So our agenda for the class would be to understand our unconscious patterns, which is depicted through certain, defense mechanisms, certain shadow sides, which the archetypes talk about, which we are going to move forward with. Okay, so before getting into this, I'm not sure why this is not coming entirely. Okay, so we'll be doing 10 of these items. Okay, so 10 of these tests which we'll be doing. It starts with 3 objects: water test, gift, tree, cup, lost in the city, wall test. There's this door test. So 10 of them we'll be doing it today. The only rule is you cannot think much. So I'll be giving you only 3 seconds per strategy, per tool. You're going to put your first responses. Say, for instance, if I ask you to think of 3 animals, so quickly, within 3 seconds, you have to put 3 names of animals. Okay, so without thinking. So that's very important for your for taking out your unconscious mind right in front of you. And we'll do a quick analysis. I'll show you how to do the analysis later on. Yes, a few people have questions. Please ask. Yes? No questions? Okay. So before we start off, I would like you to make 10 rows. In fact, 11 rows. I'll give you this template. I don't know why this thing is not coming entirely, but then, make 10 rows and 8 columns. So in total, there will be 9 columns and 11 rows. So just in your copies, you can maybe draw it out. Once you get the PPT, you can print out the template and fill it up again. So this would be basically row wise, there will be 11 rows, and column wise, there will be nine columns. So we'll just take a minute to do that. All done? Can you put a thumbs up? Okay, you can keep adding to it once you're done. So we'll start, as the test says, these are projective techniques which will bring out your unconscious mind. Now, why am I doing this? First, so that your entire unconscious comes in front of you. And then when we move on to the archetypes the next day, you can relate to what your shadow self is through these defense mechanisms. So according to Freud, we have certain defenses. There can be healthy defenses. There can be unhealthy defenses. Defenses means we are guarding ourselves from certain threats from our environment. Say, for instance, a person fails in a test. They can approach the situation in 2 different ways. One can be they are acting out emotionally, crying all day, not doing anything. The second can be they can start building, again, their study schedule, and then they can, invest their time and effort more into studying more. Okay, having a mindset that they'll do the next time better. Or it can be a third way that they completely stop working. I'm a failure, I can't do anything, and things like that. Or alternatively, they can have certain, destructive ideas. Maybe taking to smoking or wasting their time online gaming and all of it. So different people have different approaches, and according to Freud, we have a specific pattern. Now, you might say that I act or react in different ways in different situations. So, what about that? So, what we are going to do is these 10 techniques, these 10 tools will give you an insight as to what your unconscious is telling you, what kind of defenses are coming out, and how we can map it so that we can find the dominant pattern. So, our agenda would be to tally against each of these techniques. You can see proactive, passive, reactive, guarded, expressive, avoidant, overwhelmed, and balanced. Okay, so all of it we are going to map through. We are going to put tick marks. We're going to tally it and see what all defenses are coming out. Okay, so we'll start with the first test. It's called the 3 objects. Okay, so what I want you to do is be very alert and just respond by your instinct. Do not think much. Just whatever comes to your mind, put it down on paper. You can either doodle or you can just quickly write it down. In sessions, you can take your own sweet time, ask them to create some drawings or doodles and give them around 10-15 minutes per, tool. But in class today, since there's a time constraint, we'll be just quickly writing down names. Later on, you can build on this. Okay. So your prompt would be, think of 3 objects quickly. Maybe you can put it down in the chat box so that I know exactly you're not taking much time on that. If you had to pick any 3 objects right now, anything at all, what would they be? Don't think too much. Just say the first 3 that come to your mind. I see very few people typing in. Come on, quickly. You cannot think. That's the trick. You cannot think. Teddy pen, mobile pens, colors, pen, phone, notebook, water bottle, pen, mobile. Okay. Okay. Now, since you've written it, what I want you to do is in your diary, just describe each of these with maybe 3 adjectives. Three objectives per object. 3 adjectives per object. Say if I write pillow, suitcase, and pen. So for the first one, maybe the pillow, I'm just giving you examples. Pillow, I'm writing soft, warm, comforting. For the suitcase, I'm writing maybe holds a lot, travel, excitement. This is according to me. It's not what other people say. This is what I feel about those objects. And the pen is useful, smooth, essential. Okay, so I've written down that. I just gave you an example. All done? Can we have a thumbs up? Okay, so I hope all of you have described it. Now let's go to the analysis part. This is a projective technique which involves your subconscious, unconscious patterns. And this is the meaning to it. Okay, so object 1, how others see you. That's your social self. That's your perception of how others see you. Object 2 is who you want to be. That's your ideal self. Okay, this is what my aspirations are. This is what I'm looking for. This is who I want to be. That's what we are aspiring to be. And object 3 is who you are actually. That's your core self. That's what your authentic self is. Does it align? Yes, no, if you can write. Yes, anyone would like to discuss anything?
Yes,
At all?
ma'am.
Mhm.
Ma'am, option 2 was food. Should I change it or should, because I wrote yummy, satisfying,
No,
loud.
it's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Don't change anything. So
But then
not
the
change.
interpretation goes a little different. Yummy,
Yummy is
traits.
basically it's basically being light. There's a metaphorical meaning to it.
Yes,
So
like
being light.
okay. Others
So that
just
that gives someone comfort or likability. So that's what yummy means.
got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, others, could you resonate? Could you not? If you did, just write a yes so that we are on the same page. Yes, maybe a thumbs up will also do. Okay.
Ma'am, are we gonna get this
Yes,
interpretation?
I'll give you. Don't worry. So this is a quick technique to know what a person might be feeling or thinking. Now, the trick is to understand as a therapist, as a counselor, or even for yourself, to understand how is object 2, object 3 aligned. First thing. So who you want to be and who you are, if there are lots of differences, say it's completely opposite. That means the person is under high stress and conflict. Okay, because they wouldn't tell you on your face consciously that, this is who I want to be. So this is the quickest way to find out what they actually want to be. And then you can surround your conversations around it. Okay, so if in case you have, say, a knife, also one word of caution, this thing keeps on changing day to day. Okay, a lot of it will change as per context also. Like whatever I'm experiencing right now may be contextual to what is happening in my life currently. Okay, so it will definitely give you an overview as to what the core personality structure is, but then it may change with time. And if you incorporate this off and on in your sessions, maybe as a check-in, you'll see how it aligns with the environment. Say, for instance, a person who writes, pen in the first place, who feels useful and everything. Maybe there's a big fight at home, there's a conflict at home. She or he writes knife. Then you can bring it up and ask that, okay, in the last session you said so. What made you feel like this right now? Okay. So you can keep on doing this off and on whenever required, and every time it comes up with your subconscious, unconscious patterns. Okay. But take a note here. So the column which you made, I'll just go back to this. Which one falls under your responses? Say, for instance, it's mine is maybe useful, essential, warm and comforting. So it could be warm and comforting is over here, could mean I'm regressing back. So it's more like an avoidant. Okay. So it's more like an avoidant thing. You're going back in time where you need more of comfort and cuddling up and all of it. Okay, so you'll see your dominant pattern, what it holds, and maybe you can put a tick mark against it. There can be more patterns also. So one can be very proactive, the other one can be guarded. So if someone has written knife, it can be reactive and aggressive.
Excuse
Okay.
me, ma'am.
Yes.
For which one we need to check this? For the first
For
object?
all three. You can have all three similar or all three different. So you keep on putting a tick mark against it. You can put tally marks.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll check the frequency as to which all patterns are coming up.
Okay. So if I can fall for the three objects in any three categories, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Fine.
I'll give you a tally sheet at the end of the class where you can, as a homework, you can go back, understand the patterns, and then put it much more mindfully. For the time being, let's just record, and then maybe you can, after the class, you can sit and do it carefully. Okay, so we will move to tool 2. Okay, tool 1 was all about social self, ideal self, and real self. Okay, so this will give you a quick insight as to what the person is like.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, tell me.
So this is about like I just came from a farewell lunch. So nothing was coming in my mind. So like top of head, I only had three things because I dressed up like that. So first thing is top, then hairband, and then bag. So does it say anything about the unconscious thing?
What are the adjectives is what is more important.
Okay. Okay.
How have
That
you
I
put
have
your
to put, right?
adjectives? Yes. What your
Okay.
adjectives are important. Objects will
Hmm.
just give you a hook. Like we have hooks
Okay.
in Instagram just to catch your attention, and then what you write about it is important.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
That's going to be.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Ma'am, just one question.
Mhm.
If I have written a color as an
Mhm.
adjective,
Mhm.
like if I have written red color,
Mhm.
so how do I put it in?
What have you written it for, ma'am? If you can share.
Yeah, the second object I have written as pen,
Mhm.
and I have put for adjective as red for it,
Okay. How do you feel red is?
and expressive. These are the three adjectives I have mentioned.
What do you feel about red?
Okay, so
So describe that red as well.
okay, fine. So maybe red I feel more as alertness.
Okay, so alertness, activeness, if it's that, then that is the adjective.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so this was one example which I've given you, phone, trophy, and diary. Phone is social, connected, trophy wants success, diary is actually introspective and private. So, do you see a disconnect with the second and the third one? Who they want to be and the diary, who they are actually. So, introspective and private, but at the same time, he or she wants to have recognition. So, there's a disparity in it. So, with that, maybe you can point out your sessions, counseling sessions, that you're seen as social, but you are a private person, which may not be bringing up that kind of, success and recognition. There might be patterns of, self doubt. Okay. Or maybe you hinder while approaching others. So, all of it comes out through this. I'll give you more decoding examples where you can work it out as a group. Okay, so we're moving on to the next one. This is your prompt, and quickly, again, like before, if you can put it in the chat box. Emotion and objects. Pick any 3 objects that represent you in relationships. So, in terms of relationships, think about relationships. And if you were into describing certain objects in your relationship, what could that be? For instance, example for me, it could be maybe a stone, a soft cushion, and maybe a flower. Okay, so I didn't think much. I just told what just came to my mind. So if you can quickly write down in the chat box. Quickly. I don't see anyone writing. You cannot be thinking so much. Okay, okay.
The third one was talking. Can talking be an object, like a source of communication I wanted, like mobile or something, but I'm not a
Okay. Source of communication, yes. Can be headphone, yeah. Mobile, yeah, can be. Okay, it should be done by now. If you're taking time, it won't work. Okay, so it has to be very, very quick. You cannot give time. So let's move on to the analysis. Object 1 is the past, how you view your relationships, or what exactly, how you were emotionally engaged with relationships in the past. Object 2 is present, how you are actually engaging in relationships at the present. And object 3 is in future, how you're contemplating, how are you planning your relationships. Okay, how you're going to put forward emotionally. So if we take this example, say stone. So stone is the element of stone, if I've described it that way. How are you going to place it as the past? Maybe it was more hard or concrete, or there was more structure to the things. Okay, so stone elements are like that, if I have described it that way. Cushion is more about softness and soft landing, and again, a need for emotional needs are there. And then the future is more about the rose, the fragrance. What I'm thinking about rose is the fragrance and the softness and the bloom. Okay, but I also see the thorns. So the future, maybe I'm contemplating that way. Okay, as through the example. So for you as well, how you have described these objects will give you a glimpse of what your past was, present is, and future, how you're looking at your future. Okay, so how many could you relate with? So the more you do these, the more sense it will make. Okay, cycle for future. Cycle, how are you describing it? It's more important that way. Okay, so how you describe it will give you an insight as to what the person is actually thinking of. Yeah, so it's steadiness. You're looking forward for steadiness. That is what you need right now. Okay, how are you describing book? Again, there's no right or wrong to it. That's a separate version where symbol dictionary is there, symbol meaning is there, but we are not going into that. So let it be independent analysis. Hand is action, so you're more looking forward to more of activities and action, taking decisions, all of it. Okay, so this was the second tool.
Ma'am, can I just see the question? What was being
Yes, sure.
asked for this?
I'll send you this.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll send you the whole PPT. So we are done with tool 2, And again, you can map it accordingly, according to the grid which we have, and we'll see what comes up next. Okay, so the next one, we are moving on to the next one. This is called the water test. So if you were a form of water, what would that be? What would you be? You cannot think. I'll show you a slide where you need to choose. So this is more structured. However, if you feel you can give more, you're more confident about these analysis and you can give more options, let them just, write their own thing. Okay. So this slide shows you the options. We're playing KBC now, but there's no wrong answer. So quickly choose it. Only one response. Okay, I see a lot of lake and ice and river and ocean and river, or a lot of river and rain I can see. Okay, great. Okay, I had chosen waterfall earlier. Okay, so let's see the analysis of this. In fact, if you have time with your clients, if you want to do something more concrete, you can always ask them to draw a picture of a water body. You may not give these options, let them come up with their options. You can also place this as an option. That's up to you. If you don't place, generally steam and flood doesn't come up normally. If you place this, you will also get, options like steam and flood, which has a lot of deep unconscious elements. Okay, even waves hitting the rocks. So some people relate to these unusual responses as well. Okay, now is it flowing? Is it still? Is it intense? Okay, if you have written maybe a river, that's much more flowing. Waterfall would be intense. Still lake would be stagnant. So similarly, ice can be very stagnant. Stormy ocean is again intense. So you can quickly write down which category you fall into. So this also has a meaning. We'll move on to the next meaning as well. So flowing forms would be emotionally expressive. It's more like it can be emotional overwhelm also, like crying all the time, reaction, being reactive, being very, very touchy or moody or mood fluctuations. That may also mean that. Okay. So still forms could be detachment, could mean emotional numbness, could mean emotionally contained as well, depending on what you have actually drawn or chosen. Then intense forms could be high emotional energy, where it may express through forms of anger and frustration and irritation as well. Okay, so these are a few categories. Added to that, I'm not sure why the thing is not coming. Um,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Can't we choose two forms? Or
Yes,
the
of
very
course you
first?
can. But the very first form will be your core, emotional pattern. Um, I'll just stop sharing for a minute because this PPT hasn't been downloaded properly. I'll just share it through Canva. Just give me a minute, please. Okay, so we're back on the slide. So if you can see, there are core patterns, which if you have chosen, say, ocean, you can read against it what the core pattern is. Core pattern means what it means actually. What are the strengths? And shadow side is generally the flip side of the positive. I wouldn't say it's a negative, but then it's like the downside of people. You know, so this gives you three kind of columns, and against each you will have the core pattern. Say for instance, someone who has written rain. So that could be expresses emotions openly, releases feelings easily. Strengths could be that authentic. You do not hide feelings. You are who you are, emotionally aware and expressive. Sometimes it becomes also overwhelming. That's the shadow side. So emotional overwhelm may seek validation through expression and others' viewpoint. So that can be the shadow self. The shadow side, we'll be dealing it in the archetype class. Okay, so for the timing, it's more to do with the unconscious patterns, which we are looking at. Okay, so this is a reflection or a projection of your emotional self through the unconscious. Do not write anything, just locate your response and then tally it and see how it relates to you. Okay, I'll be sending this entire PPT, so you don't need to copy anything. Just note down your responses.
Ma'am, if I have written pond, so will it come in still lake? Pond.
Still lake is much more bigger than a pond. So in case it's not here, pond would mean low containment. So if you go by the still lake, calm outside, deep inside, silent processing, a pond would mean it's not that, you're always doing it.
Okay.
Okay. So it's in a smaller form, you can say. Yes, definitely. You can do it with 7 to 8 year old kids also. So unconscious, bringing out the unconscious is not limited to any age. So that's the fun part of it. You can do it with anyone. I keep on doing it with my family members, my kids. So it's okay. It's pretty fun also. Apart from the therapeutic part and understanding part and the deeper meanings, it's fun to build rapport very quickly. And it also gives you that power to know someone very quickly. So anyone confidently and try these out. Okay, so I hope you could relate. Can you put a thumbs up? Then we'll move on. Okay.
Ma'am, like
Yes.
if we are doing it in a session, so are we supposed to read the interpretation there and then, or the interpretation is for us?
See, interpretation depends how mature the client is. If you're doing it with kids, no point, sharing. You can just tell them, can you point out or can you draw a water body? Okay, so you have to kind of manipulate the prompts. If it's an adult and you can tell them that we'll be looking at the different emotional patterns. So you can maybe psychoeducate them a little and then put it across. So you can have a full session on each of these tools. So we are just quickly going through because we are all professionals. We know how to conduct our sessions. We can quickly, go through it and try to relate to what is put out. But for sessions, for people who do not know about unconscious, subconscious, and how we are projecting ourselves, you can have these as complete tools during a session. See, if they pick up a waterfall, you can ask them to completely draw a waterfall, spend some time on it. And then while they are drawing, you can silently, analyze and then put across certain prompts or questions or maybe a CBT worksheet. You can frame a CBT worksheet depending on what they're doing. Say, for instance, a person draws a waterfall, you can always ask that, are there times when you suddenly release? Were there times when you suddenly burst out? Is it that you keep a lot of things inside, but then suddenly something bursts out? If they can relate, they say yes. Okay. You don't have to always tell them that this means this. Okay. So you can cater your questions accordingly. So that gives you more power and insight as to how to go about your sessions. Right? I hope I could make it much more clearer. Okay.
Ma'am, here the question should be like, what is your favorite water form, or how do you like your personality is associated with which waterfall?
You can tell them if you were a form of water, how would you relate? Or you can also give them that just draw a water body or something to do with, draw water in any form you want. Both works.
Okay.
Or tell me about some water body that comes to your mind first. Okay. The only trick is that they cannot think much. They have to be very quick. After that, they spend a lot of time, even a day or an hour or half hour on the drawing or whichever tool you're using. It can be clay also, that's immaterial. But how they're responding first, it's important. How quickly they are responding. Okay. So we are moving on to the next tool. This is called the wrapped gift test. Okay. So imagine someone gives you a beautifully wrapped gift. What is the first thing you notice? Is it the wrapping? Is it the size of the gift? Who's giving you the gift or what's inside? What is the first thing? It will be only instinctual. Whatever is your answer, write it down. Wrapping, okay. Same pinch. I also went for wrapping. Who is giving? Okay. The individual. A lot of wrapping. I think we are all on the same boat. Okay. Okay, so let's see what it means. The tie, it would be more of the wrapping if we look at it. So that's like a good response because you thought of the bow tie and all of it. So that's nice. That's a different response, but it falls under the category of the wrapping. So the analysis would be wrapping. The people who have written, a lot of you have written wrapping. So that would focus on appearance and first impressions. You're moved by, you're very image conscious basically. You look on the surface and see, and your attitudes are, or first impressions are generally formed by how the person presents themselves or on the superficial layer. Nothing wrong in it, but may sometimes, you may overvalue appearances rather than the core characteristics. This happens a lot of times. The second one, the size, focuses more on how important or big something is to them and what's the measure as per the importance. So the significance and goals would be all related to what am I getting in return. It's like, is it worth it? Is it big enough? Is it scalable enough? So that's what it is. The third one, who gave it? Your more focus is on relationship building, how you perceive relationships, whether relationships are important to you. You focus on that first. Okay. So may prioritize relationship, but then you may also overlook to other things. You may be extra sensitive to others' action. And what's inside? It's about more to do about the in-depth things. It's not about the person carries themselves or how they lead their lives or what they are doing on the surface, but you have a knack for understanding whether they are genuine people or not, whether they are actually goal oriented or not, whether they'll contribute something meaningful. Okay, so this can be a very wise thing, but then on the other hand, you can get very overwhelmed by, see, everyone will not be the same. So if they don't meet the expectations, it can be that you feel very rejected and you don't generally want to accept the person they are. Okay, so that can be the other side, the shadow side of it. You may just start over analyzing. Okay, so this is what the importance in people's life, how they function dominantly. It's not that, say, for instance, I have chosen the wrapping. It's not that I don't value what people, have in them. But most of the time, maybe I am carried away by maybe a superficial or the outward layer, and I trust people easily just by how people are projecting themselves on the outside. Okay, so that's what I can relate to. Okay, so that will be a dominant pattern, and that may cause a lot of trouble, which we have discussed in the shadow side. Okay, so this done, this tool again is very useful. Next, we are going to the tree test. We have a lot to cover, so I'm a little bit hurrying up because that works. Hurrying up works because that will give you the raw outputs. The tree test. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? It's a very simple prompt. Imagine yourself as a tree. Close your eyes. Imagine. You need to close your eyes for this because this is more to do with self. So close your eyes, think of a tree, how you're looking at it. Don't think much, just whatever visuals are coming in front of you. That is what you are. Okay. So that's the tree you have chosen. Few important aspects. What type of tree is it? How big or small? Like the size of the tree. Where is it located? What's in the vicinity? What condition is it in? Is it healthy? Is it dry? Is it flowering? Are there people around? Are there other shrubs around? Is there, any kind of elements which is around them? Okay. Is it standing alone? Is it standing amidst a garden or some place or people around them? So describe it in maybe a few lines. Okay, I'll just pause for a minute and then you can just think because this is an important tool. You can use it in any age group and that gives you a lot of insight about the person as well. Banyan tree, ancestral house, lots of branches. Okay, okay. Okay. Whether it's flowering, whether it has fruits, whether there are, birds or animals, small animals, big animals, all of it put together, you have to create this scene. This can work fantastically if you ask them to draw. Okay, if you can do this as one of the assignments, if you can draw whatever you have put on paper pen, if you can draw it and put more details around it, it would be good. Or if you can do it on someone else who can draw it. I would recommend you to ask your clients to draw this. No matter how bad they are in drawing, just ask them to draw. And that will give you a lot of insight. Okay, and another question. What does your tree need right now? Okay, if you have kind of imagined your tree, what does it need right now? Does it need people? Does it need water? Does it need more air to breathe? Does it need a new location? Or does it need more animals to come in to nest in them? Does it need more flowers, fruits, etc.? Okay, does it need a better climate? All of it. What does your tree need right now? This also has to be very quick. Okay. Shifting, bird, water, sunlight, needs birds, nests. Okay, cool. Okay, now we are going to the meaning part. There are lots of, I think there are 2 pages to it. So I'll just quickly go through this. You can tally it once you get the PPT. So the type of tree, whether it's tall, if it's tall and big and it's like big, it's stable, it's strength. People depend on it. If it's too big, what if it's too big? That's not written here. But if it's too big, generally it happens as a sense of grandeur. Okay, thinking too much about oneself. If it's like larger than the normal trees, okay, so if you're visualizing that, that might be a kind of a concern. It's not a concern actually, but being very powerful or too confident is also not good sometimes. Okay, so flowering tree is expressive, appreciate, needs for appreciation. Fruit bearing tree would be nurturing and giving, contribution oriented. Cactus would be resilient, very strong, independent, needs very little resources or help. That is not also good. because you need help at one point of time or the other from people. So they're not very, they don't depend on people. They're more individualistic. Okay. Small plant, bud growing, is in the growth phase, not very confident, but still trying. If it's a very weak, feeble plant, then there's a lot of lack of self confidence, self worth. Okay, so it depends on what kind of tree is being projected. Location, forest would be more of community oriented. If it's in a field, it's more of independent or loneliness. And if there's nothing around, it indicates loneliness. Even desert, lack of resources, more working on survival mode. You're saving up a lot in order to protect yourself. So that can happen. Garden would be more of a supportive nature where you have a lot of friends, a lot of family, those who come in, help you. So that's a positive sign. But if there's too many flowers around, too many things around, that can also mean that there's a lack of it. Okay, not always means there's too much of it. If it's near water, there's a need to emotional connection and sensitivity is high. Mountains would be more of a struggle, more of ambition related struggle, and to reach your goals, you need to struggle a lot. Conditions again depend on what kind of conditions are there tallying to that. If it's blooming, it's more of positive growth. If it's dry, it's more of exhaustion, and then there's burnout. So these are quick ways of understanding what the person is actually going through right now, how his or her environment is, and how they are feeling about themselves. Okay, whether they have support of friends or family, whether they feel lonely. There can be various combinations. If a tree is very big, but at the same time alone in a field, that may indicate that the person is strong on the outward, but then feels lonely. Okay, so it's not necessarily that they are very confident and very outgoing, expressive, but at the same time, they don't have anyone to talk to. So that can give rise to a lot of stress, because social support is one of the prime reasons of, controlling stress, in fact, that helps you to control stress. So you can find out, you can map out as to what all features are aligning with you, and then you can have a very, very concrete structure to what you're looking at as a person. Okay, so you'll get the whole thing in one place. Any questions here? And what you need is actually a symbol of what you would be actually needing. The tree needing is actually what you need at that moment. So a few responses which I've seen, I'll just give you quick examples. You can refer to the symbol dictionary and find out what each of these mean. Water would be emotional connect. Sunlight would be a lot of, positivity, more of a presence of a father figure, a male figure. Moon would be mother figure or emotional requirement, somewhat calming down. Then greenery would be more of projects, more of new learning, more of changes. Then what else have you written? Flowers and birds would mean more of friends, more people in your life. Change of location would be meaning you would like to relocate, or maybe change your job, maybe change your house, or some kind of modifications you're looking into. It can be also a change of, yourself, grooming yourself. Okay, children, again, there's a sense of need for connection, going back into childhood, being your old self. So it's like a regression which is needed. So you need more of comfort, and so that people can do things for you rather than you being hyper independent. So that can be a few things. Okay, so this is one thing which you can do as a homework, because that's going to take good amount of time to go through the entire thing. Right after the class, I'll send you this PPT so that you can start working on it.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I have a doubt here. Actually, like when you said about this tree, I just imagined about this banyan tree
Mm-hmm.
and I drew. So before you said, I felt like I should draw. So I
Okay.
did a very strong roots I drew, and along with that, I have drew even prop roots, the roots
Okay.
which will be hanging.
Okay.
So what does that indicates, ma'am?
See, prop root would be kind of your own learnings which you want to kind of pass it down to your next generation as well. It's not only
Okay.
what your ancestors gave you or your
Okay.
parents gave you, the ethics, rules, values, what we acquire.
Mhm.
So it's not only that, but it's your own learning also which you want to pass down. So you might be having different thoughts, different ideologies, which are a little different from your parents or your ancestors. So that can be
Okay.
one. So you need
Okay.
a firm grounding. You need more validation on that as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, the next test, I think we have quite a few left. So let's quickly do it. The cup test. Imagine you have a cup in front of you. What is it filled with? Is it water? Is it coffee? Is it tea? Is it juice? Is it empty? Is it something else? A lot of coffee people here. I'm also a coffee person. Okay, let's go to the analysis. So basically, this will give you what you're lacking or craving for. So generally, water would mean clarity and balance and simplicity, simple things in life, some normal grounding things. Coffee would mean you need more energy. Maybe you are tired, exhausted, you're overstimulated. So you need that, okay, for more energy because you're tired. Tea would be again calm and comforting, emotional soothing. Juice would be some kind of pleasure and some kind of fun things, some kind of flamboyant things. So it's more about satisfaction which you'll be needing, so doing some creative things or going out, dressing up, going for dinner, something fun. Even soft drinks has that excitement, quick activities, stimulating activities, you can say maybe a sport or some game or something which will help you to loosen up yourself, maybe dancing and things like that. Rich drink or heavy drinks like milkshakes and all, it's more about indulgence, emotional safety. So emotional regulation is missing here. So you need some kind of, there might be loneliness. So you need that warmth and emotional safety. Empty would again mean you are on the verge of burnout, okay, and you might be feeling empty inside at that point. So you might be either exhausted or you might be kind of not relating to your environment. As we say, we are dissociating from our environment, may give you some dissociation symptoms, or it can be that you're emotionally completely numbing out. Okay, so that may mean that way. Again, to it, our state of the cup, temperature, clarity, color, meaning, then this is what I need. So, any kind of unmet need or emotional craving will be reflected through this activity. So,
Ma'am,
someone said it's
definitely,
slightly warm. So, some subtle emotions and holding back is also there. So that emotional need comes in. If you need warmth, it is in a way the opposite of warm. It's like you are feeling that emotional need inside, for which you need a lot of emotional support from others. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, ma'am, this can be related to our physical state also, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Of course, of
Suppose now
course.
I am having cold cup. So now I feel that cup should be filled with a hot tea. But the same thing, if I would have not had it, I would have expected that there would have been some juice or something. So
Okay.
it may be related to.
Yes, 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 yes. So this is what your body needs right now. So it comes up. As you said, you're not well right now.
Then, what you say for dissociative symptoms of dissociation?
Dissociation would be numbing out. You're not connecting with your environment. You're not being yourself at this moment. You feel as if you're just floating around your day.
So
Dissociation. Yes,
what would be filled? What would be filled with in the cup for dissociation?
empty. The empty cup.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Now this is another one which you can ask them to draw. So not even draw, you can ask them to make a story out of it, in fact. And if they want to draw out the story, it's fine. So you're lost in the city. Imagine you're alone in a completely new city, and suddenly you realize you're lost. Uh, what do you do first? Don't think much. What would you do? Would you ask someone for help, use Google Maps directions, explore and figure out, panic, or feel stuck? Google Maps, okay. Trust me, I have been in this situation once. Okay, ask for help. Okay. Panic, okay. Okay, so we get quite a varied response from this group. Now let's see what actually happens here. So primary response, if your primary response is to ask for help or use Google Maps, you can see the responses here, the interpretation. Asking for help, you have built trusting, relationship oriented. You're more relationship oriented, open for support. So you kind of trust people and yourself as well. Use maps and direction, it's more of logical, structured, and more of independent thinking rather than depending on others. It's more to do with self dependence. Explore would be risk taking behavior. If you see if they are stuck in that loop, they just want to explore. So that's why I've asked you to write down the story, what actually had happened, is happening, what will happen. You will see that if they are stuck in exploring, that means they are too into risk taking. You will see more of these responses in defined behavior, in antisocial behavior. You'll see a lot of it coming up. Okay, so if they're only looped into exploring, or if someone is looped into only maps and directions, even after a lot of trying, they are unable to find anyone for help. That would mean they're too much in control of themselves. They rely heavily on themselves, and there can be trust issues. If they are only asking for help and not doing anything apart from that, then it can be too much of dependency on relationships. Okay, so um, emotional reaction, calm, frustrated, scared, excited, all of it will again give you certain inputs, whether it's goal directed or not. It's okay being lost. That means you have this exploratory mindset. But again, if you don't get any kind of other response, that means the person is kind of okay with taking risk. Okay, they don't mind. So that logical reasoning might be absent. Extreme scenarios, there can be high resilience, over dependency, or over independence, and low coping mechanisms. If you panic, specifically, if you see the person only panicking and not taking any other step, and then that can be a person who is more prone towards, anxiety and related issues and easily stressed.
Ma'am, there's a question.
Mhm.
I find the difference between it's okay to be lost and I want to be lost.
So there's a conflict. It's okay to be lost would be you're flexible and you have an exploration mindset. But then, which one did you say?
I want to be lost.
I want to be lost means it's kind of conforming to that.
Achha, okay.
It's confirming. That means it's more of an escapism also, you can say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
Escaping the reality and just being lost for quite some time. And it's okay to be lost. I don't want to face reality.
Yes, yes, okay.
That's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of a
Now,
denial. It's a denial response.
okay. Now
Yeah.
it is very.
Okay, let's move on. I don't know how many are there. How
Ma'am,
many have we done? Can
ma'am,
someone tell me how many have we done? Because I need to give you a homework
we have
also.
done it seven.
Okay, okay, okay.
Ma'am,
Mhm.
contacting a family member also comes for asking for help, right?
Asking for help, yes.
Okay.
Okay, imagine a wall in front of you. What does it look like? I visualized a brick wall which has few cracks and few plants all around. Okay, graffiti, painting, cool. Okay, let's see the wall condition. What kind of wall have you noticed? If it's a brick wall, if it's a stone wall, if it's a plain wall or a rock or a cemented one, everything has its meaning written on it. So this will basically give you a kind of an idea as to what the person, how the person views their problems. Okay, so that's the defense which you're using against your problems. Oh, Harry Potter wall. Okay. That's like a fantasy thinking. So your defense might be just going into some kind of, it's a form of denial also. So you're going into a form where you're fantasizing a lot of things, but not actually problem solving. So it's more like a fantasy thinking and denial of the reality. So this is what it all means. Perfect wall would be controlled. There may be perfectionist traits, and while you're confronting a problem, you might be just wanting the problem to solve them perfectly. Or if there is work at hand, you have to complete it, otherwise, you'll not feel very comfortable. So it's like a controlling attitude. Okay, slight cracks, maybe some awareness is present and you are dealing with it. It's like a balance thing. Having slight cracks is fine. A cracked wall may indicate some kind of trauma, some kind of hurt, depending on how bad the crack is, or a broken wall, even that, you're emotionally breaking down. You can ask your clients to draw this as well. This will give you more of information if you ask them to draw. Okay, so different tools, different strategies which you can use. This one will have a very good basis if you ask them to draw. You can do it on someone else as an assignment and you see what all things come up with them. Height of the wall also matters, because if it's too high, it's more about protection, guardedness, and I would say you don't trust people much. Okay, so it's more like you are guarded all the time. You're hyper alert all the time. Medium would be balance boundaries. You try to maintain both ways, fine. And low would be you're very vulnerable. You're gullible. You kind of easily listen to others, trust easily, and then get into trouble. Okay. Again, empty, nature surrounded, people surrounded. If there is nothing, it can mean isolation and emotional distance. So we are left with two more, and I'll give you the last one, the 11th one, as a homework to work on. The spill test. Okay, your first reaction to a small, unexpected mistake often reflects how you handle stress. So this would be like if you spill something, the prompt would be, if you spill something in public, what would be your first reaction? Say, for example, you're holding a glass of water and you spilled it accidentally. What would be your first reaction in public? Someone runs at you. Oh gosh, okay. What do you do? Oops. These are, okay, swearing, oops, and all of it. Sorry, okay. But what do you do after that? How do you feel after spilling? How do you feel? Panic, okay, looking for tissues, regret, uh, okay, feeling terrible, guilty, embarrassed, apologetic, fine. Anyone who's laughing it off? I think someone who wrote Ayo would be laughing it off, isn't it? Okay. Anyone who has written blames something or someone? I smile. That's nice. Okay, so this is what happens when you spill. That's like a social image which you're putting across. If you're panicking, you may be anxiety prone, fear of judgment, low tolerance for mistakes, because we kind of our upbringing is that way. Maybe we have understood that we can't make mistakes. So can indicate perfectionist behavior, can indicate certain anxiety, underlying anxiety. What will other people think? Laughing it off is a human response as a defense. Emotional discomfort may be overlooked sometimes. Okay, so this is a good response. Using humor is a mature defense, but then sometimes that has also the shadow side wherein emotional discomfort may be completely subdued and you don't allow yourself to feel embarrassed, so that can also be problem.
Yeah,
uh,
ma'am, where does the regret come here in panic?
Sorry.
Regret. Like you feel
Oh,
we regret.
regret.
Yes.
Regret would come under panic.
Panic. Okay. Thank
Yeah. Clean immediately would be control oriented, problem solving, responsible. Okay, you go ahead and problem solve it. So that's like a balanced response. And blame others would be externalizing your own stress. Okay, just to, in order to protect yourself, you put the blame on others. I wouldn't say that's a negative in the negative sense, but that will give you an indicator that the person may not be able to handle stress situations. Okay, even a spill might kind of freak them out, where there's a very low self image in the person. So that's a quick way of understanding whether they like themselves, whether they love themselves, whether they value themselves or not. Okay. So these are the three domains which the spill test actually looks into. Okay, now the door test. Imagine you're standing in front of a door. What does it look like? And when you enter, what do you see? You can ask this one to be also drawn, colored, as that will, if you have attended the color psychology class, you can also relate it to the colors which you're seeing. And what comes inside the door will give you certain indicators as to what the person is expecting in future. Okay, so that's also a projection of the mind, unconscious mind. Okay, so how you approach your opportunities, what you're expecting in the future is what the door test will give you. What is the material? What color is it? Is it open or closed? Is it big or small? You can ask your clients to draw it. You can do it yourself. You can practice it on someone else as well. Okay, so the interpretation would be first the door type and material. If it's transparent, then you're confident, you're more open to let other people know about you. Dark wooden door would mean more of private, more of cautious, and you are more related to understanding meanings of things. Okay, so it's more of a mature way of looking at things. Small hidden door would mean insecurity, would not want to come into limelight, or even there can be social anxiety present. Okay, colorful door can be expressive and creative, can be also attention seeking to an extent. Strong door would mean being very guarded, being very controlled, control oriented basically, and protective. So they're secretive in a way. Door state, open, closed, locked, half open. So open would mean ready for change. Closed would mean very cautious. You need to introspect, think more that before acting. Locked would mean a lot of fear, resistance, emotional barriers, lack of trust, and all of it. Half open would mean you're curious but not very sure. So it's like a mixed thing. The door size, big and small, will give you an area where confidence is related. If it's big enough, if it's too big, again, you have to look for overconfidence. If it's too small, then self doubt, low self esteem, and all of it. Door colors, too bright colors means, there can be anxiousness present. Too bright colors, it can be also meaning that they have attention seeking issues. They want attention or warmth or importance and all of it. Bright colors would mean energy and positivity and openness. Dark colors There can be some form of guardedness where you don't want to open up. Neutral tones would mean somewhat softer approach to life, more practical, balanced mindset. Okay. And these combinations will also give you an insight as to how the person is functioning and what lies behind the door. Like when you open the door, or if the door is open, what do you see actually? Hmm? Whether there is a dangerous place, you can have apprehensions about the future. If it's dark, there can be sense of hopelessness. If it's bright and sunny and people are there, it can mean that you're looking forward to new opportunities. If it's green forest or green lands, it can be that you're open to new learning. If it's ice, if it's snow, it can mean that you have some emotional numbing for which you are unable to understand what's going to give you that happiness. Okay, and if it's very dark or you cannot open the door, that can mean a lot of fear and anxiety about your future. Okay, so we are done with 10 of it. And the interpretation pattern, which I've told you, that sheet which I'll be providing you with, that sheet you can maybe either take a printout or have it, written on a sheet of paper. And whichever patterns came up here. So that's going to take a little bit of time. So all these 10 techniques which we have done, you can one by one analyze what your responses are. You can write it down in this particular setup. This is the sheet which you would need to refer to. So all the 10 tests, whichever you feel you have more often for each of these tests. So one test can have more than one pattern coming up. So what you're going to do is tally it against it. And then per column, you're going to list, count the number of ticks which you have got. Say for 3 objects, you've got a guarded and expressive. For, again, water test, you have got again a guarded and avoidant. For gift, you have got a proactive and passive and guarded and the like. So you'll see a pattern coming up. Okay, say for example, there are 5 guarded ticks. So that's going to be the maximum number of responses. So your pattern would be you're going to put your pattern and then you're going to put your score against it and see which is the highest. So that will give you a pattern of defenses which you are looking into.
Ma'am, can you explain what is proactive here?
Proactive would mean you are active, you kind of help people, you're open, you have a very approachable attitude, a problem solving attitude.
Okay, and what about reactive?
Reaction means you are kind of acting out,
Okay.
being either aggressive or abusive or throwing things or that way. So it's more related to anger, irritability,
Okay.
acting out basically.
Okay, thanks.
Ma'am, so the interpretation is like the more the score, we are lacking it or we are more in that?
More into it.
More into
The
it.
high
Okay.
score will be your dominant
Dominant.
defense
Okay.
pattern.
Okay.
Okay, so defense pattern would mean the defense mechanism which you're using. Say, for
Okay.
instance, avoidant. So that's more related to the denial. I'll give you the defense mechanism sheet as well. So avoidant pattern, if you have the most, that means you are most of the time in denial. Okay, so that's kind of temporarily saving you, but then it can have a shadow side to it, which we are going to discuss in archetypes in the next class.
Ma'am, you
Yes.
mentioned about a symbol dictionary.
Dictionary. Yeah, I'll send the link.
Oh,
So
okay,
that
thank you, ma'am.
symbol dictionary is by most of the work is by the metaphorical baseline. So all of it has certain symbols. Say water is more related to how you kind of deal with emotions or deal with mother figures. Son is to more to do with father figures or male figures. So all of it will have a particular meaning to it. But rather than that can be a reference point. But I would ask you to, whenever you are applying these techniques, these 10 tools, ask the person to define it. Use adjectives. because that's the best way to analyze things. Okay, however, I'll send you the symbol dictionary as well.
Thank you so much.
Yes. I hope today's class was fun. I hope that way.
Yes, ma'am, it
So,
was.
archetypes will be more to do with personality mapping. I'll send you the soft copy of the archetype cards, which you can maybe print and use it in your sessions. If you want to, you've got 2 more days. I think the next class is on Tuesday. So you've got 2 more days. If you can print it out, maybe even a black and white can do. Otherwise, we can just have a digital thing. But it's highly recommended that in your sessions, use those archetype cards, printouts of those. Maybe you can print in cardstock or GSM 300 and keep it ready, because that will help you to guide the sessions much more in depth. Homework would be one animal which you like the most and another animal which you can't tolerate. Okay, so write a little bit of description of it. Okay, so one animal which you like the most, and the second animal which you completely detest. Like for me, I love dogs. I'm a dog person, but then I completely loathe lizards. I can't stand them. So it's more like that, you know. And describe what you don't like about them and what you like about the favorite animal. Okay. Yes. Reptiles comes under animals, insects, reptiles, anything apart from human. So you can write birds. It can be anything: insects, birds, animals, whichever. Okay, and why you don't like, why you loathe the animal so much. Okay, what are the characteristics which makes you feel very disgusted with it? Okay, I'll see you in the next class. Thank you so much for joining in. I had fun. I hope you all had too.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. I'll send you the PPT. Bye.